Welcome back to Decode Healthcare. I'm Harshal, your RCM trainer. Today's explainer is literally a must-know for all you AR specialists out there. We're mastering patient responsibility. Look, whether you're a seasoned associate or just stepping into the revenue cycle world, understanding exactly how to process claims that fall to the patient, that's the absolute backbone of a healthy billing cycle. So grab a pen, because we're going to dive right in. Okay, quick look at our agenda for today. We'll start with Section 1, Patient Responsibility Codes. Then, Section 2, a deductible adjudication deep dive. Section 3 is our claim resolution workflow. Section 4 covers a standard caller note template. And we'll wrap up with Section 5, a quick knowledge check. All right, Section 1, Understanding Patient Responsibility Codes. To kick things off, we really need to nail down what it means when a payer shifts the financial burden back to the patient. By definition, patient responsibility is the portion of a medical claim that an insurance payer determines is the financial obligation of the patient. So here's the crucial thing to remember. This isn't a random denial, and it's definitely not a mistake by your billing department. It's actually a highly specific contractual obligation the patient agreed to when they signed up for their health plan. It's our job to make sure the payer calculated that obligation correctly. Notice how neatly these three primary claim adjustment reason codes, PR1, PR2, and PR3, categorize the patient's out-of-pocket costs. Whenever you spot a PR group code on an EOB or explanation of benefits, it's basically a neon sign telling you the balance is on the patient. PR1, that means it went to their deductible. PR2 is their coinsurance percentage. And PR3 is that flat copayment amount. You really want to memorize these three. They're going to be your daily compass and AR follow-up. Moving right along to Section 2, Deep Dive, Deductible Adjudication for PR1. So while PR2 and PR3 are usually just straightforward math, PR1 is kind of a different beast entirely. See, when the payer processes the claim, they totally agree the service was medically necessary. But instead of sending your provider a nice big check, they allocate that allowed money to fill up the patient's deductible bucket. Basically, the patient hasn't met their annual threshold yet. So the payer is saying, hey, we approve this, but the patient has to foot the bill this time. It's kind of their polite way of letting us do the collecting while they spare themselves from having to listen to their own hold music. Now, as an AR specialist, your very first analytical step when you see a PR1 code is to compare two key numbers, the allowed amount versus the deductible applied amount. You've got to always check if the allowed amount perfectly equals the deductible applied amount. For example, if the allowed amount is $100 and exactly $100 was applied to the deductible, awesome, your math checks out. But what if it doesn't match? Well, if there's a balance left over after applying the deductible, you absolutely must investigate these exact parameters to get the full breakdown of why it processed that way. You need to figure out, was this applied to an in-network or out-of-network deductible? Is it pulling from an individual or a family bucket? Are we dealing with an annual or lifetime accumulator? Plus, what is the total plan deductible? How much have they met to date? And on what exact date did they meet it? Honestly, getting into this level of detail is exactly what separates a novice from a true RCM expert. Okay, Section 3, Claim Resolution Workflow Steps. Now that we know what to look for, let's talk resolution. Before we step through the workflow, I want to highlight my absolute favorite rule from our source material. Listen to this closely. Nearly 70% of the outstanding claims can be resolved without calling using proper analysis. Seriously, do not pick up the phone unless there's really a need. Your primary goal is to resolve this using payer web portals, EOBs, electronic remittance advice, and your billing system. Staying off the phone as much as possible is a total game changer for your efficiency. Let's see how this builds a perfect workflow. Step 1 is non-call resolution. Gather all those deductible parameters we just discussed straight from the portal or EOB. Step 2, secondary insurance cross-check. Always check your billing system for active secondary or tertiary coverage. If they have it, just submit the claim to the secondary payer along with that primary EOB. And finally, Step 3, patient billing or statement transfer. If there's no secondary coverage and all other options are completely exhausted, then and only then do you transfer the balance to patient responsibility so a statement can be generated. Next up, Section 4, Standard AR Caller Note Template. So you've investigated the PR1, followed the workflow, and resolved the account. Are you done? Not quite yet. You absolutely have to document your actions. I want you to memorize this quote, write it on a sticky note, and slap it on your monitor. If it's not in your notes, it didn't happen. Please don't leave your coworkers in the fog. Clean, comprehensive documentation ensures the next person looking at the account doesn't have to duplicate all your hard work. It gives us a crystal clear, auditable trail of exactly what went down. Before I show you the standard template, make sure these core components are always included. Whether you just used a web portal or actually had to make a phone call, your notes got to be easily understood by anyone else hopping into the billing system. You need the payer's name, the rep's name if you spoke to one, reference numbers, dates of service, and a super systematic breakdown of the info you found and the exact action you took. Here is your gold standard template for a PR1 scenario. Notice how we anonymize the proprietary details to keep things compliant for our training, but the structure is what really matters here. It starts with, per review of EOB from the payer, the CPT processed PR1. It states exactly how it was verified, either via web portal or a rep. It structures the narrative perfectly. The allowed amount applied to an annual in-network deductible. It notes that you checked for secondary insurance, and it clearly states the action taken, transferring the balance to the patient. It's clean, it's undeniable, and honestly, it's highly professional. All right, moving to Section 5, Knowledge Check, Test Yourself. We've covered a ton of ground today, so let's put it to the test. Question 1. According to our guidelines, what percentage of outstanding claims can be resolved without making a single phone call? Think about it for a second. Is it A, 30%, B, 50%, or C, nearly 70%? Okay, question 2. When analyzing a PR1 code, which two monetary amounts must you compare first? Is it A, the billed amount versus the allowed amount, B, the allowed amount versus the deductible applied amount, or C, copay versus coinsurance? And finally, question 3. What is the golden rule of AR documentation? Is it A, write a novel for every claim, B, if it's not in your notes, it didn't happen, or C, only document if you call a rep? So, how'd you do? For question 1, the answer is C, nearly 70%. Remember, stay off the phone if you can. For question 2, the answer is B, you gotta compare the allowed amount to the deductible applied amount first. And for question 3, it's definitely B. If it's not in your notes, it didn't happen. If you got all 3 of those right, you are well on your way to mastering patient responsibility claim resolution. And that wraps up part 10 of our training explainer. I'm going to leave you with one final thought to ponder when you sit at your desk tomorrow. What specific detail are you going to document differently today to help out the next person who reads your notes? Give it some thought. As always, share and subscribe for free courses on Decode Healthcare with Harshal. Keep analyzing, and I'll see you in the next one.